All right, welcome to the 2011 Southeastern Guitar and Amp Show in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm Ross from SoundPure, and we're here with Rich Flickinger of Flickinger Tone Boxes. We're gonna take a look at another new item. If we go over to the pedals here, the new matte finish on your Germanium Griffin Fuzz Boost. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this pedal's crazy. Basically, I wanted to make something in Germanium. A lot of people, actually last year at the show when we were here, a lot of people were asking about, do you have a Germanium pedal? It's sort of that key word people look for in pedals. Mm-hmm. Germanium, if you don't know, is basically what they originally were making transistors out of, and they did so for a long time until they found out that silicon was a lot more reliable and easy to make a transistor. You'd have tons of the transistors out of batches of germanium that were just useless. And you'll actually still find that a lot of pedal builders and hobbyists looking for germanium have a really hard time. So what I did is I went a slightly different route with this pedal than a lot of the germanium stuff that's out there. A lot of people are trying to find the ultimate, fuzz face type germanium transistors, really high gain. Well, what I went with was some very low leakage, mid-range gain, new old stock transistors from Russia from about the late 70s, early 80s.
Cool.
And they actually sound great. They still have that germanium sound, but what I've done is basically instead of having a gain control and a volume control and a tone control and all those things that usually end up at the same place on most germanium fuzzes, I just have volume control. So it basically works as a boost. It's at full gain the full time, but it's not the same type of gain you usually expect from a germanium fuzz. It's not totally over the top. Basically, if you roll down your volume or you're playing lightly, you can get just a little bit of crunch out of it, and then it really sort of beefs itself up when you dig in, or you're playing with extremely hot pickups, and it's got lots of volume to spare. Most people won't make it past 9 o'clock on the dial. Yeah. Unity's probably about there, and once you get to here, it gets pretty loud. But if you have an amp that has a lot of compression in the first stage, you might need that extra little bit to get a true boost out of it. That's one of the things about Flickinger pedals is I never want you to step on the pedal and not get louder if you want to. And so I always try to leave a little bit extra, bit extra in there. But it has a lot of character. Yeah. It's definitely the least transparent of all of the Flickinger pedals.
Sure. And like many of your pedals, it takes well to the dynamics of your playing.
Yes.
So when you're, describe when you're strumming harder, what sort of happens when you really get into it?
It's just like when you get, a lot of people talk about the sweet spot, like of a non-master volume tube amp, right? You get it to where when you're playing lightly, it's mostly clean, and then it reacts to all your transients and your pick style, and that's really what most guitar players, that's why we love tube amps in general, is just because we find that sweet spot. And a lot of pedals, frankly, ruin that. And sometimes that's what you want. Sometimes you want to be able to just have a consistent tone. Yeah. And so I'm not dogging that. What I'm saying is that a lot of times I do not want that. I want to be able to stay in that sweet spot, and these pedals allow you to just move your sweet spot around in your amp and find different types of sweet spots.
Sure, that's the unique twist that your line has to get, the dynamics of your playing really change things up. Thanks for joining us at the Flickinger section of the 2011 Southeastern Guitar and Amp Show. I'm Ross from SoundPure. Check out soundpure.com for the entire Flickinger line.